I already pretty much knew that. What? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pam and today's video is going to be my 2021 reading stats. So I like to keep tracks of things. That's just something that I really enjoy. It's really something that makes me happy. So I do keep tracks of my reading every year. I've been doing that since 2019, I think. I love it. I love stats. I love graphics. I just really love a visual representation of what my reading is throughout the year. I just really love that. It's really something that I do. So this year I decided to use the compile method and the compile reading tracker thing. It was created by G over at Book Roast. I'm gonna leave her video down below. I'm gonna leave the new one because she made a new version of the compile, which I'm gonna use this year, which I'm really excited. There's more things to track, so that's great. But I really love the compile to rate my books, so that's why I'm using it. Today I'm gonna talk about all the stats, which I'm so excited. So we're gonna start first with the amount of books that I've read this year. So in 2021 I read 95 books. Yay! And my goal was to read 75, so yeah, I surpassed it by 20, which is really great. I wanted to go to 100, but yeah, I was just kind of in a reading slump and I just couldn't. But yeah, you can see my month-to-month books that I read. So you can see a trend here of me reading a lot of books in the beginning of each year. It's been like that also in 2020. I think it's been like that also in 2019. I don't know what it is, but in the beginning of the year, so from, you know, January to May, I'm like super motivated and I really want to read all the books. So that's when most of my reading is done. It's really in the beginning of the year. After that, it's pretty stable, you know, it's really like 6 or 7 books, not much more, which is okay. It's fine. I would like to read more in the summer, but I guess I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm in summer vacation and I just don't want to read. I have no idea. But yeah, what I think is really funny is that February is the shortest month, but it's the month that I've read the most for some reason in 2021. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's because we were on lockdown and I just didn't have anything else to do. And maybe I use like reading as a coping mechanism, maybe. But yeah, so you can see month for month. Now you can also see pages read per month. So again, it makes sense with the amount of books that I've read. But my most read month, it's not February, it's actually January, the first month. Yeah, which I think is pretty cool. And my lowest pages read was in December. Big reading slump. I think I'm finally out of it, thankfully, hopefully. But yeah, I think the pages read per month really goes with, like I said, the amount of books that I read each month. It makes sense, you know. Next is series. So it's been a couple of years since I've had this reading goal each year, which is basically to finish series and to read some series that I want to prioritize. It's almost 50-50. I read 47 books that were part of a series. I read 49 books that were standalone, so it's pretty like 50-50, which I'm really happy with. And I'm also happy with the amount of series that I've finished this in 2021. So I finished 8 series, which I think is pretty great. Like, I'm really happy with that. It really makes sense for me. I read a lot of fantasy, I read a lot of sci-fi, and a lot of them are part of a series, so it just makes sense that it's pretty 50-50. Rereads, it's another goal that I give myself each year, and I'm pretty happy with the amount of rereads that I did in 2021. I reread 12 books, which is pretty great. It's like 1 book a month, which I think is, it's totally fair, and it's it's fun. I love rereading books, my favorite books. It's just something that I really do enjoy. And when you count like 12 plus 84, it makes 96, but I've read 95 books because I had one DNF. So yeah, but it's still there in the cop out. Anyway, so yeah, so there's 12 books that I reread. Pretty happy with that. I don't know what else to say. The age category, which is really, really interesting. I think last year it was pretty 50-50 between adult and young adult. But this year there's way more adult than young adult, which I'm really happy with, because I realized something that I realized this year is that I know I'm not the targeted audience for young adults. You know, I'm almost 28 years old, so those books are not for me. But I still enjoy some of them. But I have to keep in mind, if I want to read more YA, or if I want to still read YA, I have to keep in mind that this is not for me. So I shouldn't rate it based on like my perception as an adult. I should perceive it as, oh, does really a young adult person like would enjoy this book or not. But I'm really happy that I'm reading more adult. I think it just fits with me and growing up and getting older, and just, yeah, it just makes sense. I want to read more adult, so I'm pretty happy with the amount of adult books that I've read, and I'm also happy with the amount of young adult books that I've read. Middle grade, I think they're almost all Percy Jackson books. Yeah, but yeah, I really do enjoy middle grade. They're great because I have in mind that I'm not the targeted audience, but I still can enjoy them, and I still think they're great middle grade. I just have to do that also for young adult. That's what I need to do. Publication year is a really interesting one, because in the past couple of years I would read a lot of backlist book. I would read a lot of books that were published before the year we were in, or like a couple years even before. But this year I read a lot of books that were like 2019 and above. Out of 95, I read like 38 books that were 2019 and above. And we can even go back to like 2018, which is not really old, and it goes to like 49 books. So it's pretty amazing. I really want to read more new releases. I really want to read more books that are like that were published in the last couple years. I'm still gonna read, you know, backlist books, but I think there's gonna be less and less each year. That's the trend that I can see. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the amount of like new books that I've read in 2021. I think it's cool. Star rating, like right now I don't know why 4-star and 5-star are like reversed, but anyway, we're gonna go with it. But yeah, I gave 2 books 1 star, I gave 1 book 1 star, and then I gave 9 books 3 stars, and I gave 28 books 4 star and 37 5-star. That's great, you know, because I do pick books thinking they're all gonna be 5-star. Like, I'm not that kind of person who would pick a book just because like, oh, I'm gonna hate it. No, I always have expectation that I'm gonna love this book, and then I can be disappointed, or I can be like pleased with it, and that's why they're like 4 and 5 stars. So this means for me that I really know my reading taste well to pick books that I will actually love. If it was the reverse, I would go into this existential crisis and be like, what do I even like? But this one proves that I do know my reading taste. Next is the genre, which I love this pie chart so much. So you know, my top 3 genre that I read is no surprise. Well, the number 3 might be a surprise, but the first 2, they're no surprise, okay? The first one is fantasy with 22 books. No surprise there. I really love fantasy. Then there's sci-fi. I should have put like sci-fi and dystopian together because I think it would be number one. Sci-fi, basically, it's 26 books, which is no surprise. I really love sci-fi. And number 3 is actually nonfiction, which is surprising but not, because I do read more and more nonfiction each year, and I really do enjoy the nonfiction that I read. So it's kind of a surprise, but at the same time it's not. I don't know if it makes sense, but yeah, I'm really happy with that. After that, it's like mystery thriller I could put together. It would be 14 books. Then contemporary, which is a genre that I do read less and less books. I just don't think, especially like YA contemporary, I just don't think they're for me, especially when there's like a lot of romance. I don't think it's for me. No. Then it's horror. I could put horror mystery trilogy together, but yeah, whatever. Then it's like classic, historical fiction, poetry, and then a graphic novel. So yeah, those are like their genre. Then yeah, but it's really no surprise that my most read genre are science fiction, fantasy, and nonfiction. Book length is again no surprise, because the books that I generally will read are between 300 and 400 pages, and that's what this pie chart is showing. So there's 33 books that are actually between 300 and 400 pages. So yeah, it's no surprise again. Just almost a third of my books, a little bit more than a third of my books that are between those pages, so makes sense. After that, it's books between 400 and 450 pages. Then surprisingly, it's between 200 and 250 pages, which is surprising because I don't read a lot of small books, but I guess it's fine. And after that, it's pretty much all over the place. So yeah, but it's no surprise that my books are between 300 and 400 pages. It's usually where I go. After that, it's a pie chart that I'm so happy with. It's written by. So I read 59 books that were written by women. Yes, that was something last year that I wanted to increase. So I actually did it. So 59 books. It's a lot. I'm really, really happy. After that, it's 31 books from male authors, and then 5 books which are from multiple authors. So they're like 2 authors, or they're like a short story collection, for example, or an anthology. And I had 1 book by a non-binary author. So for the women, I'm really, really happy. That's great. After that, it's POC author, which I'm not happy with. I wanted to have half of my books by POC author, but I didn't. So I'm pretty sad with that. I only read 29 books by POC, BIPOC author. So yeah, I'm quite sad with that. The other thing that is really interesting is the breakdown. So basically it shows out of the 39 books that I read by BIPOC author, which one were from which representation. And I read a lot of Black authors books. In the new year 2022, I want to change. I think I want to diversify that category more in 2022, so I'm gonna work on that. Finally, the last stat I want to talk with you with is the LGBTQ plus representation in my books. I'm really sad to say that 67 of my books had no representation in them, no LGBTQ plus representation. Only 28 books had either the main character or it was present in the book. But yeah, that's sad. I want to do better in 2022 for sure. And after that, you can see the breakdown, but mostly they are queer representation, because most of the time they were not explicitly specify which representation it was, so I just put it under the queer category. So yeah, I really love stats just because it shows me either do I know my reading taste or do I don't know my reading taste, and they really help me to set up my goals for the next year. So It really helped me to set out my goals for 2022. I'm really excited to talk with you about my reading goals for the new year. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really love statistics, like I said in the beginning, and I hope it was entertaining and it was fun. I'll see you in a next video. Bye!